Good morning, everyone. It is a beautiful, hot, cloudy morning here in the Blue Ridge Mountains of Georgia, and as you can see here, I am pouring the sweat, and that is because I have climbed to a very high elevation here, and I'm going to be looking for timber rattlesnakes today. This is a really unique region, has some really interesting rock bald habitat where these snakes actually congregate, and it's one of my favorite places to find them. This is almost as far south as you can find true montane timber rattlesnakes. So I'm excited to show you guys some of my favorite snakes and this really beautiful habitat here. So I'm going to make my way up this mountain a little further and we will see what all we can find today. And the first snake of the day is this gorgeous gravid female eastern garter snake as flipped under this rock right here. These snakes are very abundant up here in these high elevation rock balds. Again, these snakes are very cold tolerant, so they thrive in the higher elevations of the Blue Ridge Mountains, although they do have a pretty wide range throughout most of the southeast. And this is just a really nice, chunky eastern garter snake. Obviously it's gravid, but still just a really good looking snake. It's cool getting up here in these high elevations and seeing numbers of these snakes. Dozens and dozens of them in the right habitat here, because there's not a whole lot of diversity up here. You have timber rattlesnakes, copperheads, northern ringneck snakes, a few milk snakes, obviously water snakes, but that's really about it. But these garters are by far the most abundant snakes up here. So I'm going to put this gravid girl down here and let her continue basking and going in and out of these rocks, and we will see what else we can find today. And right here we have eastern garter snake number 2 for the day. This one is in shed. This one was not flipped. It is just sitting out here in this little grassy area catching some sun. And that's a good sign that snakes are already out, because that could mean our bigger targets for the day, the timber rattlesnakes and eastern copperheads, should be out as well. But this one's in shed, not the best looking garter, so I'm just going to leave it to what it's doing here and keep on hiking, and we will see what else we can find today. All right, next snake of the day is this really large, stocky eastern copperhead emerging from this rock right here. And this is in situ. This snake is not fully out yet, so it appears that it has just now came out to bask. You can barely see its head in the grass here, so I'm going to slowly move positions here. Let's see if I can get a closer look at this snake from this angle. Still, you can barely see it, but this snake is not completely out of this rock, and as you can see, it is really massive. So I'm going to get some good photos of this snake here, and we will get a closer look. So as I was photographing this copperhead, it quickly caught on to me and actually took off into the grass instead of going back under its rock. So I took that opportunity to pull it out here into the open, and it's being really chill now. But I just wanted to show you guys just how large and beautiful this copperhead really is. As you can see, it's really dark, but it has actually freshly shed, because if you look closely at its tail here, there's still a bit of shed stuck on its tail. So just a big, old, gorgeous copperhead. Normally these snakes are really abundant up here. I had one day, I actually found close to 60 here in a single day. But this is definitely one of the biggest ones I have seen in a while, likely a gravid female. But yeah, just a really gorgeous, good looking copperhead, really large. I'm going to put my boot right here by it for size reference. And this also just shows how copperheads are really reluctant to bite unless you mess with them. They do not want to attack us. They only want to get away and live their life and do what they do. They have no interest in harming people. They're actually terrified of us. But yeah, big, beautiful eastern copperhead here. I'm going to get some more photos of it while it's posing really nicely for me, and then I'm going to keep on hiking, and we will see if we can find some timber rattlesnakes today. And right here we have copperhead number 2 for the day, sitting right here basking. As you can see, these appear to have just came out to catch some sun. It really is prime time right now. And right here we have copperhead number 3, just curled up together here. This is their rock. They go in and out of this crevice. So copperheads come out in the morning to bask, and as the sun goes in and out, they come in and out to bask. So later today, when it gets too hot, they will go back under this rock. And I'm actually seeing number 3 and maybe number 4 here. It's tough to tell just how many there are, but they are really well camouflaged in these leaves here. Awesome to see. In the Appalachian Mountains, in these cooler environments, copperheads congregate together much more. They have a really wide range, and once you get into the southeast, in the Piedmont and coastal plain, they are much more spread out. They don't have set gestation sites and hibernacula like they do in the mountains, because a lot of the habitat is more open canopy. It's warmer. They are nowhere near as restricted as they are up here as far as where they can be and all of that. But in these high elevations, they have specific gestation sites and hibernacula, so it is really easy to predict where they are going to be. And where you do see them, you often see them in large numbers like this. So always cool to see numbers of these guys sitting together. I think we have at least 3 or 4 here. But anyway, I'm going to leave these copperheads to what they're doing and keep on working this habitat, and we will see what else we can find today. And right here we have our first timber rattlesnake of the day, just sitting here nestled amongst this vegetation. As you can see, it is right outside of this rock crevice here, so that is likely where this snake came from. It has just came out to bask here this morning. So this is the perfect time of day to be seeing these snakes out. We are at the southernmost, well, almost the southernmost extent of the Blue Ridge Mountains here in Georgia, and this is about as far south as you will see these true montane timber rattlesnakes. Once you get south of here into the Piedmont coastal plain, even the Ridge and Valley and Cumberland Plateau to the west of here, you start seeing canebrake or lowland variant timber rattlesnakes, and that is because south of here the habitat changes so much. They behave differently, they also look different, but these montane timber rattlesnakes here still need specific gestation sites and hibernacula to survive because of the cold temperatures. So this is a pretty standard gestation site here, a nice rock crevice where these snakes can take shelter with a lot of open canopy habitat around for them to bask in. And that's what this snake is doing right here. I'm not sure if this is a gravid female or not. It's pretty small, but it is definitely basking here. So really cool to see. This is kind of a black-faced timber, pretty dark for as far south as we are, so really cool to see. But this snake is posing really nicely for me here, so I'm going to get some good photos of it and keep on working this high elevation habitat, and hopefully we will see some more timbers today. Great start to the day. Right here we have another nice big eastern garter snake. I think this is the prettiest one of the day so far. Normally you only see smaller garters up here, but this one's actually a pretty good size. So again, nice seeing these snakes everywhere. They help pass the time in between the timbers and the more exciting finds. And again, it's cool just seeing them everywhere, because outside of these mountainous areas here, especially in the hotter areas of the southeast, you will see them, but they're spread out. You never see them congregating in numbers, just sitting around basking everywhere. So really nice looking one here. I'm going to get some quick pictures of it and put it back in its grassy habitat here, and keep on hiking up this mountain, and we will see if we can find some more timbers or something else today. All right, right here we have a nice little pile of copperheads here basking inside of this rock crevice. I call this the Copperhead crevice because it almost always has a nice pile of them this time of the year. I only see 4 heads here, but I suspect there's at least 1 or 2 more further back. All of these are pretty dark coppers. A couple of them look like they could potentially be heading into shed. But I'm going to zoom out here just to put this habitat into perspective. Really awesome exposed rock here. There's so much exposed rock, in fact, that you only get grasses here surrounding it, and what it does is it opens the canopy up. It makes an excellent place for these snakes to bask, and even when they're in their crevices, they can catch a little sunlight, as these copperheads are here. But really nice looking copperheads. Again, always fun seeing them in numbers instead of just random individuals like you typically see outside of the mountains. So yeah, I'm going to keep on working this habitat here, and we will see what else we can find. And right here we have two more copperheads in a crevice. These are two really nice light colored ones here. I have already lost count of just how many copperheads we have seen today. Today appears to be Copperhead mania, but hopefully we will see some more timber rattlesnakes, because obviously these guys are out in numbers, and the sun is really coming out now, so it should be prime basking conditions. But anyway, I'm going to keep on working this habitat here, and we will see what else we can find today. This right here is exactly what I had in mind for today. Right here we have two beautiful gravid female timber rattlesnakes. One is a really nice looking lemon yellow face here, but I can only see her body. This other one is kind of a yellowish brown. You can actually see her head, and I think that's her rattle sticking out. If it is, then that's a pretty large snake. But now that I have got initial clips of them, I'm going to attempt to sneak just a little bit closer here, and we'll see if we can see some more of them. Oh yeah, that is beautiful. This one is almost a bronze phase like I was talking about, but it's not quite as exaggerated as they can be up here. Appears to be a really large timber rattlesnake. These girls might be coming out to bask here if they haven't already. I hope I'm not late to the party, because if you notice right here, the grass is laid down. You can see where these snakes have been out here sitting. So they will, just like the copperheads, they will come in and out of these rocks all day and catch sunlight as the clouds move. Right now they appear to be taking shelter, so they have either already came out to bask or they haven't came out yet. So I think I'm going to get some good photographs of these here, and I might just sit on top of this rock and see if they come out and give us a little show. So yeah, I'm going to photograph these girls here and sit and wait. All right, so the one big female just moved, and now this gorgeous yellow phase here has decided to poke her head out and see what I am doing. She's just curious here. She might actually be thinking about coming out to bask, even though I am sitting right here. So I'm going to watch her and see what she does here. Right now she's just looking at me, looking at the camera. As you can see, this is also a really big snake here, for a montane timber rattlesnake anyway. Okay, she's on to me now. I'm going to give her some space here and crawl on top of this rock and see if she decides to come out. Okay, 15 minutes later, and I'm sitting here patiently watching and waiting, and one of the yellow girls is thinking about coming out right here. I'm not sure if you can see her head or not. It's right around the corner here. She's thinking about it. I'm in a pretty good spot here where I can see them and they can't see me, so I'm going to keep on waiting it out here and we'll see what they do. All right, timber rattlesnake number 4 for the day is a really cool one here. This is still practically a baby. It is a little bit early for neonates, actually about a month early up here in this area. So I imagine this is one of last year's babies that has overwintered and came out here on this rock bald. Now it is in a crevice, and I know we can't tell much about it here, but I'm trying to get it to focus. It's a really tiny one, and it hasn't quite got into that adult pattern yet. It still kind of has the neonate pattern. So really cool. You typically don't see baby timber rattlesnakes other than when they are first born at these gestation sites, which will actually be here in just a few weeks. I rarely see random ones just hanging out like adults here on their own. So I'm going to call this a yearling just by looking at it. Really cool. I'm going to photograph it here and leave it in its rock crevice in this gorgeous habitat here, and we will see what else we can find today. Next find of the day is this little baby copperhead that still has a little bit of its yellow tail. This appears to be another one of last year's babies. Really good looking little snake. Pretty dark. It could be about to go into shed. This one is, oddly enough, just basking here along the edge of this trail, so I'm going to move it off the trail really quickly, because most people would not like to see this little guy here and could potentially stomp him or hurt him. So I'm going to move him right into the woods here. Come on, little buddy. Go this way. And keep on hiking. Alright, so it is now an hour later, and these gravid girls were on to what I was doing, and I was sitting here waiting on them. So I took a short hike up the mountain and found another couple of snakes and came back down, and sure enough, this big yellow phase is out in these thickets here, stretched out, basking, and she is on to me again. But just look at her. She is a really large timber rattlesnake, super impressive. Doesn't get much better than that. I'm glad I finally got her out of the crevice here, because look at that rattle. This is a really impressive one, and she does not like me here. Normally they are not quite this defensive, but where she is gravid, she's a little more temperamental than normal. She does not want to be messed with. So I'm going to give her her space here, get some good photos, and I might just sit here for a minute and see if her friend comes out. Oh, look at you. Aren't you so gorgeous? Yeah, you don't like me, do you? Beautiful yellow-faced timber rattlesnake. Doesn't get much better than that. Right, here's a better look at her. She's just cooling up for me here, posing really nicely, still rattling, letting me know that she doesn't want me to come any closer, but I'm okay with that. I can get good shots right here. Sometimes this is what it takes. If timber rattlesnakes are not out when you first find them, sometimes it's good to just go on a little walk, leave them to what they're doing and give them their space, and they will come out and eventually do what you want them to do. And ultimately, the lesson here is you don't have to hook them out of crevices to pose them for pictures. If you watch them long enough and you become familiar with their habits and, you know, the kind of cloud cover they like, we have some nice dappled sunlight here, you can actually predict when they're going to come out. And that is what I have done with this beautiful girl right here. I'm so glad she's out in the open where we can see her, because just look at that gorgeous yellow coloration. For a yellow phase, that's about as pretty as it gets down here in the Georgia Blue Ridge. Really good looking snake. So I've got some good photos now. I'm just going to leave her to what she is doing here and keep on working this habitat, and we will see what else we can find. So while I was watching that rock waiting for the other female to come out, I noticed that this big yellow phase had moved. So I got to looking around and noticed that she had made her way over to this rock bald here and is doing some exploring. She could be looking for a better place to bask, or perhaps she just wants to get away from me. But as you can see here, these snakes have no interest in people. They want to avoid us. She is watching me closely here, but she has become familiar with me sitting here, and I think she is seeing me as less of a threat now. So she is out slithering around, doing what she would normally do. I'm going to watch her here and see just where she goes, because I would expect her to stay close to that rock and just go in and out, but apparently she's moving around. Wow, this is just such a big, beautiful timber rattlesnake. Honestly, nicer than I was expecting today. All right, she's on the other side of this tree now, so I'm going to adjust. I think she's on to me again. I'm down here crawling around, trying to be stealthy, but she is on to me now. Would you look at that? Wow, what an impressive snake. This is actually one of the nicest yellow-faced timbers I have found up here. There are some brown ones, there's some gold ones, a few yellow-faced, but you don't see too many true yellow-faced timber rattlesnakes up here in the Georgia Blue Ridge. So this is awesome. Just look at how many buttons are on that rattle. That is a really big, old timber rattlesnake. All right, she is posing really nicely here, so I'm going to get some photos, and if she moves around anymore, I will pick back up right where I left off here. This girl is just out exploring today, but it looks like she might finally be heading into the thick growth here, because she has had enough of me following her around and watching her. So I'm going to let her head on off here, do her thing, and I guess it's time for me to hike down this mountain, and we will see if any other timbers have came out since I was coming up. What an experience. What a beautiful animal. So I just stopped by one of the Copperhead rocks here on the way back down the mountain, and they have repositioned to catch a little more shade, which indicates that the basking window is about over now. It feels really hot out here, and plus this is a lower elevation than where I just came down from up top. So they're still out, but not in direct sunlight like they were earlier. Earlier they were right here in this patch of leaf litter. So just goes to show how time of day is everything for these montane vipers. But yeah, really nice looking copperheads. We have one lighter one here and a larger dark one here that is obviously a gravid female. Just look at her rear end. It is extremely swollen. So she should be having babies here in just a few weeks. So yeah, I'm going to keep on making my way down the mountain here, and we will see who else we can find. So I just made it off the mountain, and I'm currently descending back down into the